But over time, they become so hypometabolic and they have the inability to detox estrogen. And all these things are going on that I mentioned. The bottom line is they're not producing energy. Cold hands and feet, low body temperature. And they have hot flashes because the induced nature of the nitric oxide, causing vasodilation. Now, what we've concluded is, based on just theory and physiology, that taking the HRT almost actually pushes their seesaw so far into the deep end. It's almost like the straw that broke the camel's back. And it actually shuts down the system, shuts down energy production, and shuts down the catabolic effects. It's almost like you've depleted the body so much, and this is the straw that broke the camel's back, and pushes you into such a hypothermic nature and a hypometabolic nature that it shuts down energy production even further, which actually decreases hot flashes, because now it's almost like it pushes all the heat out of the body. It's not a benefit because you're doing this at the expense of damaging your metabolism even further. Estrogen causes increased vasodilation of the blood vessels, increased blood pressure, it upregulates inflammatory hormones, as I mentioned, and it suppresses the thyroid and other energy-building systems in the body. And estrogen is a major contributor, according to Ray Peat, to all degenerative diseases. Now, this is an excess or the inability to detox it. Of course, it's all about the ratio of estrogen to progesterone and all these other hormones. You need it, you have it, men have it. It's not a female hormone. It's about finding that balance and ratio. We don't agree that women should ever take estrogen. Now, we're not doctors. We can't tell you to take it or not take it, but we don't agree at any time that you should take it because you produce it in your adrenal glands, it's stored in fat cells, and you produce it in your fat cells. So there's really no need to take it because most women actually have normal or even lower levels of estrogen, but usually progesterone levels that are normal are in the bucket as we age because of stress. Stress is, contributed to aging. But a lot of the times it's the body's inability to detox the estrogen. Now, this is a quote directly from the Metabolic Blueprint, which is our program. Estrogen makes the toxic mediator producing cells of the liver, the Kupffer cells, 15 times more sensitive to what's called lipopolysaccharide, LPS, or endotoxin. This increases the alarm response, which according to Hans Selye is that first response of the general adaptation system. This increases the alarm response activation of the inflammatory mediators, the phospholipases, nitric oxide, tumor necrosis factor, interleukins, and enzymes that form prostaglandins from polyunsaturated fatty acids. So you can see how estrogen actually increases toxins in the body, but overloads the detox system. Nitric oxide is increased in women through menopause, this is according to Wontabi, which is also increased by inflammation. Inhibitors of nitric oxide reduce vasodilation during hot flashes, according to Hubbing. Endotoxin or lipopolysaccharides have been shown to increase nitric oxide, and most toxic foods increase endotoxin. And it's actually been shown by some doctors that orange juice, as well as carrots, can actually reduce the amount of endotoxin recirculation in the body, as well as Cascara sagrada. And estrogen has been shown to increase lipopolysaccharide. Quoting Ray Peat, plasma nitrate levels and inducible nitric oxide synthase in the liver were also elevated significantly in estrogen-treated rats 6 hours after LPS injection. Consuming foods with vitamin B12 and vitamin E is actually an antioxidant and it's actually anti-estrogenic, are antidotal to nitric oxide. Cascara sagrada has been shown to inhibit the formation of nitric oxide and fatty acid synthesis. Estrogen increases free fatty acid circulating in the blood. Now, this happens from its interaction with polyunsaturated fats and actually shifts the body towards fat oxidation and inhibits glucose oxidation, which lowers basic energy production in the body, lowers body temperature, and leads to that hibernated kind of sleep, hibernation type of, metabolism. We gain weight, we're lethargic, we're blah, we're tired all the time, we have a low body temperature and pulse, we don't want to eat, etc. Now, it's very rare that women will actually ever need estrogen as a supplement. Now, according to Ray, there is no evidence that women experiencing hot flashes were deficient in estrogen, and that there was evidence that the hot flashes began when the first menstrual period was missed, which coincided with and resulted from a failure to produce functional corpus luteum, preventing the production of normal amounts of progesterone. Now, I find this next part pretty interesting because, you know, I'm kind of giving you this random explanation of all this, but if you connect the dots, it makes a lot of sense. As I mentioned, estrogen has a lot to do with regulating blood sugar. Now, it's been shown that progesterone has a role in actually stabilizing blood sugar. And in one experiment, hot flashes were found to be increased by lowering blood sugar. Estrogen wastes glucose. It actually has been shown that it decreased by moderately increasing blood sugar. So what we're saying here is hot flashes are increased when we don't regulate blood sugar because of estrogen and cortisol to meet the needs of the body by breaking down muscle tissue. And it's been shown that regulating blood sugar, which controls estrogen and downregulates cortisol because of glucocorticoid, not only stimulates our protective hormones, but actually downregulates hot flashes. So that's an easy way to control your hot flashes through the foods that you eat, the frequency that you eat, the ratios that you eat in order to regulate blood sugar, to downregulate and control hot flashes. Now, if we look at estrogen in the nervous system, estrogen actually can increase hot flashes because it stimulates the adrenal cortex of the adrenal glands and increases cortisol production. Corticotrophin-releasing hormones causes vasodilation and is more active in the presence of estrogen. So what we're seeing here is the inability to detox estrogen and eliminating all these other complex factors not only stimulates nitric oxide, which leads to vasodilation, which leads to hot flashes, but also stimulates cortisol directly through stimulating the adrenal cortex, which increases vasodilation. Through this process, the increased production of cortisol, which can be regulated with blood sugar, will have many physiological effects on the body. It increases protein turnover from gluconeogenesis, it increases free fatty acids, it increases the conversion of tryptophan to serotonin, which are all hypothermic. It decreases overall heat production. It stimulates adrenaline, which also causes vasodilation. So what's the conclusion here? The conclusion is regulating metabolism through regulation of blood sugar. You don't need supplements. Through eating the right foods, fruits, roots, tropical fruits and roots, non-inflammatory proteins like I've talked about, and saturated fats, in the right frequency and the right ratios to meet your metabolic needs, looking at temperature and pulse to get an idea of what's going on at the cell and if what you're doing is actually working, can help regulate blood sugar, inhibit estrogen, decrease the recirculation of estrogen, which inhibits cortisol production, increases thyroid hormone production, which increases overall energy production, and normalizes body temperature and pulse, and can regulate and eliminate hot flashes. Hopefully you enjoyed this clip, and I'm out of here.